oil-producing nation of Qatar is shutting down the cable news channel Al Jazeera America. Al Jazeera's Arabic language channel has a reputation for being anti-American. Also in business news today, General Electric said its corporate headquarters will be leaving Connecticut after 41 years and heading up to Boston. GE blamed an increase in Connecticut business taxes. Today in Detroit, some more schools were shut down again as teachers called in sick in a continuing protest that has seen nearly 70 schools shut down this week. The teachers claim that the health of 46,000 students is in danger.
That's right.
And Anna Werner shows us why.
Some of these classrooms are cold. Very cold.
Same
At the
thing
Spain
here.
Elementary School today, some kindergartners wore their coats in class. In several rooms, it's just too cold for 5-year-olds.
You can smell the mold through the hallway.
School counselor Lakia
The
Wilson
mold,
left
that's
on the
right.
floor.
This is where our gym is.
An entire section of the school is closed off, including the gym.
You're seeing the result of rain coming right into the school.
Water leaking from the roof warped the wood floor. Now the smell of mildew fills the air.
Come on.
Yeah, some champion swimmers come out of here.
Absolutely.
The school's swimming pool has been waiting for repairs for 5 years. Andre Harlan is the gym teacher.
They
How do
stealing
you
the
keep
money.
a gym without a gym?
Well, we do conditioning in the hallway.
So they walk the halls.
All around.
The state took over financial management of Detroit Public Schools in 2009. The district is still $515 million in debt. Ivy Bailey is interim head of the teachers union.
We kept talking and talking and talking and talking, and it was going on deaf ears.
That's
Nothing
right.
was changing, and teachers were just fed up.
Darnell Early is the emergency manager appointed by the governor to fix the problems.
Certainly, if we don't get the money that we need to deal with the debt situation, that's only going to make it worse.
And one of the things Early says the district cannot afford is a new roof for Spain Elementary School.
Doesn't that cry out for sort of immediate repairs in your view?
Well, it cries out for the immediate action, and my understanding is that there is a plan to do that.
Without an infusion of cash from state legislators, Scott, the district says it will run out of money come April.
Anna Werner reporting for us tonight. Anna, thank you. The CBS Overnight News. We'll be right back.
For closed captioning concerns on WTVR-TV CBS 6, please contact our closed captioning liaisons, Operations Manager or Programming Director at 804-254-3600, by fax at 804-254-3673, or by email, captioninghotline@WTVR.com. We will make every effort to respond or otherwise resolve your inquiry within 24 hours or by the next business day.
Let me tell you, getting a lawyer won't make it any better.
This is our top offer.
If it goes to court, it could take years.
So, what's it gonna be?
You called the law firm of Marks and Harrison.
Let's not get carried away.
I hate those guys.
Tell them you mean business. Call 1-800-WIN-WIN-1. Marks and Harrison, right now.
I'm Alex Trebek. If you're age 50 to 85, please listen carefully. The lock I want to talk to you about isn't the one on your door. It's a rate lock for your life insurance that guarantees your rate can never go up at any time for any reason. Many policies don't have one, but you can get a lifetime rate lock through the Colonial Penn program. This plan was designed for people on a fixed income with coverage options for just $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. The rate is locked in for life, and coverage can never be canceled. Your acceptance is guaranteed. You cannot be turned down because of your health. Call for your information kit and gift. Both are free, with no obligation.
Call 1-800-537-7019 for free information and a free gift, or visit colonialpenn.com. Call now.
Today, Iran released those 10 U.S. Navy sailors we told you about last night who were detained when their boats sailed into Iranian waters in the Persian Gulf. Tonight, David Martin explains how a potential crisis was diffused.
In video released by Iranian television, the boarding of the two Navy boats seems peaceful enough. But this tells a different story. The Navy crewmen look like they're being held prisoner. Then the lieutenant in charge is asked what the boats were doing in Iranian waters.
It was a mistake. That was our fault, and we apologize for our mistake.
That contrasts starkly with Vice President Biden's account on CBS this morning that one of the boats had engine failure and drifted into Iranian waters where they were, in his words, rescued.
There was no apology, nothing to apologize for. When you have a problem with the boat, you apologize the boat had a problem? No, and there was no looking for any apology.
The crew was held for about 16 hours, and U.S. Navy doctors have now examined them and found no evidence of mistreatment. So at least the incident came to a quick and satisfactory end, which, as Secretary of State Kerry pointed out, is saying something when it comes to Iran.
I think we can all imagine how a similar situation might have played out 3 or 4 years ago.
Iran's foreign minister tweeted he was happy to see dialogue and respect, not threats and impetuousness, swiftly resolve the sailors' episode.
What really may have resolved it is Iran's desire not to derail the nuclear deal between the two countries. As part of that deal, the U.S. is expected to begin releasing about $100 billion in frozen Iranian assets in the next few days. Scott?
David Martin at the Pentagon. David, thank you. Today, President Obama hit the road to sell the ideas he raised in last night's State of the Union address, his last. The first stop was Omaha. The president spent 40 minutes meeting with high school teacher Lisa Martin, who moved him with a letter in which she had expressed a sinking feeling of dread and sadness about climate change. Mr. Obama's address took a number of jabs at the rhetoric of Donald Trump, and then many were surprised when the Republican response did the same. Major Garrett is on the campaign.
As frustration grows, there will be voices urging us to fall back into our respective tribes, to scapegoat fellow citizens who don't look like us.
Following the president, South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, the daughter of Indian immigrants, echoed his message of tolerance.
During anxious times, it can be tempting to follow the siren call of the angriest voices. We must resist that temptation. No one who is willing to work hard, abide by our laws, and love our traditions should ever feel unwelcome in this country.
Today, Donald Trump, who has called for a ban on Muslims entering the U.S., hit back at Haley.
She's big on amnesty, but very weak on illegal immigration, and so therefore we have a disagreement. I mean, she comes up to my office when she wants campaign contributions, and I've given her tremendous contributions over the years.
Trump has given Haley's campaigns at least $7,000 since 2010. Haley acknowledged today that she was in part speaking about Trump.
I understood that when I hit Republicans and Democrats, I was going to upset people. But they gave me the opportunity to say what I think, and that's what I did.
Republican National Committee Chairman Reince Priebus told us he thought Haley was making a broader point.
I wasn't sitting there listening and thinking about fighting within the Republican Party. I was just thinking about just the political rhetoric in general should be cooled down. And I've always said things like that.
Conservative firebrand Ann Coulter said on Twitter Trump ought to deport Haley. Scott Priebus told us the Republicans have had their fair share of drama and intrigue, but predicted they would unify, create a presumptive nominee by April, and do so, he said, before the Democrats.
Major Garrett on the Carolina coast. Major, thank you. The first votes in Iowa are 19 days away. A poll out today puts Ted Cruz ahead of Donald Trump by just 3 points. Marco Rubio is third. Success in Iowa always depends on getting to know the people there, and Dean Reynolds has this.
Burrowed within the wintry landscape of western Iowa between Mobile and Sac City is the town of Holstein. Population 1,300.
1474 arrived.
It's where you'll find the Midwest Deli and Grill and proprietor Ann Peterson. The place was buzzing this week because a candidate for president was stopping by.
Now, are you responsible for the coffee and cookies?
I am.
Do you know how many people are coming?
Not a clue.
So you don't know how many?
I don't know how many cookies to bake.
There's a greater frequency and urgency to such events in Iowa now as the caucuses draw near. The candidates, camera crews, and correspondents are all part of the traveling show.
I realize that the other states probably think we get a little special treatment, but, you know, we don't have Times Square. We don't get the ball that comes down here. This is our little thing.
The remaining Republican candidates have spent between 11 and 68 days apiece in Iowa over the last year. The three Democrats have spent over 30 days each.
Thank you.
Ann Peterson has seen many over the years.
Like who?
I can't even remember because none of them won.
Cold, aren't you cold? It was 2 below when Carly Fiorina came in from the cold. About 75 people, including 22 kindergartners, braved the chill to take her measure.
I know you Iowans are tough, but it's really cold.
Mark Leonard is a regular at Ann's place.
We have that privilege here in Iowa, and that if you've not met the President of the United States, it's because you didn't really care to. Because it actually forces candidates to come here and speak.
Holstein is heavily Republican and energized. They know they may have a profound effect on U.S. history, and they relish the opportunity, as fleeting as it may be.
You know, all you have to do is put forth a little effort, and you can meet all of these people, and it's really nice.
And one of them
Could be. Someday.
the President.
Yeah.
There's a story here in Iowa about an older gentleman who was asked if he'd made up his mind yet. He said he was leaning toward one candidate, Scott, but he wasn't sure because he'd met him only 8 times.
Dean Riddle's covering the Iowa caucuses for us. Dean, thanks a million. Airlines are saving billions, so why don't they cut their ticket prices? CBS Overnight News. We'll be right back.
Frustrated with digestive issues that keep coming back? Try Digestive Advantage, a unique natural probiotic that survives 100 times better than the leading probiotics, so it can get where you need it. Take control of your digestive health with Digestive Advantage.
That's a lot of dishes.
No problem. I'll use a lot of detergent.
Dish issues? Get Cascade Platinum. 1 pack cleans top food better than 6 packs of the bargain brand combined. Cascade.
It's not always as easy for me as it is for him.
It's easy for me because look at her.
Aww. So we use KY Ultra Gel. It enhances my body's natural moisture so I can get into the swing of it a bit quicker.
When I know she's feeling like that, it makes me feel like we're both. When she enjoys it, we enjoy it even more.
And I enjoy it.
Feel the difference with KY Ultra Gel.
Where are you? Well, the squirrels are back in the attic.
Mom?
Your dad won't call an exterminator.
Can I call you back, Mom?
He says it's personal this time.
If you're a mom, you call it the worst time. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
Where are you? It's very loud there. Are you taking a Zumba class?
Choose to move freely. Move Free Ultra has triple action support for your joints, cartilage, and bones in one tiny pill. Move Free Ultra. Get your move on. And now try Move Free Night, the first and only 2-in-1 joint and sleep supplement.
Olay Total Effects, a skin transformation that rivals the leading department store moisturizer. Revives skin to fight 7 signs of aging. With Olay, you age less, so you can be ageless. Olay, ageless.
At CBS This Morning, we made the change to more real news.
How many girls do you want to help educate?
What's more important to us is you did too.
What role should Wall Street play in the economy?
They're the questions you'd ask.
If they think you're a leader, does it matter if they trust you?
To get the answers you want.
What's the big question being missed here?
To make the issues make sense. Join John Dickerson on Face the Nation, America's #1 public affairs program. Sundays only on CBS. CBS News. Original reporting.
Airline profits are soaring, so why are passengers still paying a fortune? Here's transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
In just the first 3 quarters of 2015, U.S. Airlines made almost $18 billion in profit. During that time, they were on pace to pass 2014's record of $3.5 billion in baggage fees. Their planes flew 85% full, and the steep drop in fuel prices had the carriers cashing in. Passenger Rita Moss.
With everything from the seat to the baggage to everything being added on as extras, and the prices still are not decreasing.
The very first thing anybody heard about the airlines in January was they raised fares.
Very modestly, and that was the first raising of fares in a very long time.
Jean Medina speaks for the airline industry.
What's good news for consumers is when airlines are profitable, customers, communities, and investors and employees win because they're reinvesting that money back into the business.
The airline business is boom and bust. Since 1990, the industry has landed in the red 11 times. In 2005, they lost nearly $29 billion.
First class is getting more luxurious, but in the back, they're squeezing us tighter than ever.
Charles Lee Oka is the chairman of flyers' rights group Travelers United.
The fact that oil now has dropped to such a low level has really given them a windfall profit. And some of that you would think might be shared with the consumers, either in the forms of lower fees or lower airfares, or perhaps by giving us a couple of extra inches in the airplane.
The airlines say airfares actually dropped by about 3% last year, but Scott, that pales in comparison to the drop in oil prices.
Chris Van Cleve at Washington's Reagan National. Chris, thanks very much. The Rams are about to prove you can go home again after this timeout.
For generations, heart disease has been our #1 killer, striking women of every age, color, and culture. Heart disease claims one woman every minute, killing more women than men and more women than all cancers combined. I don't know about you, but I intend to stay alive. Fight the lady killer. Get heart checked.
CBSN, the live digital news network from CBS News.
We're following 2 developing situations.
Catch up on what you missed, view related stories, and share them. CBSN is on right now, on any computer, on the CBS News mobile app, and on Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV. CBSN, CBS News, always on.
For 2 decades, Los Angeles has been without an NFL team, but now it may get 2. Last night, NFL owners gave the St. Louis Rams the okay to move back to L.A., and the San Diego Chargers may join them. John Blackstone's on the story.
L.A. Rams! Some L.A. football fans had waited 21 years to get this happy. Finally, NFL football and the Rams are returning.
It's more than just football. It's a history. It's a tradition.
L.A. will get a new $2 billion stadium, privately financed by Rams owner Stan Kroenke. Who let the Rams out? Kroenke is a hero in L.A., but a traitor in St. Louis. The city's mayor, Francis Slay.
Stan Kroenke was on his way out of here. He wasn't going to stay no matter what we did.
The mayor estimates St. Louis will lose $4 million a year in tax revenue alone. But the bitterness of losing a big sports franchise can last for decades. Nearly 32 years ago, the Baltimore Colts loaded up moving vans in the middle of the night to take them to Indianapolis, something many Baltimore fans still haven't forgiven. In Los Angeles, naming rights for the new stadium could be worth $25 million a year. Work is already underway at the site of the new stadium that local officials project will create 12,000 permanent and part-time jobs. John Blackstone, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And we'll be right back.
Coming this February, the CBS News Republican presidential debate.
CBS 6 and the Richmond Wedding Experience are giving one lucky couple the chance to win a wedding in a week. Plus, the wedding will be broadcast live Friday, January 22nd. Go to WTVR.com. Hurry, voting closes January 13th.
Log on to WTVR.com/NotForMe to vote for your favorite Not For Me video. The winning team receives a $1,500 cash grant and gets to see their PSA air during the Grammy Awards. Vote today. Not For Me, a public service campaign sponsored by Loveland Distributing and CBS 6.
R&R Tire Express is proud to be a Yokohama Advantage dealer, offering tires made right here in Virginia. The Virginia Yokohama plant supports 900 local workers and their families. Come into R&R now for Yokohama tires. Try your new tires out for 30 days. If you're not happy with your purchase, return your tires for a full refund. Plus, enjoy easy payments with $20 down or 120 days same as cash and free installation at R&R. Support local jobs and buy Yokohama at R&R Tire Express today.
The FCC has guidelines for identifying TV shows that meet the educational and informational needs of children. This EI logo will appear during children's shows that meet those requirements. If you have questions or comments about CBS 6's children's shows, contact our programming director at this number for additional information about CBS 6's children's programming. Go to WTVR.com or view the public file at the station, available during regular business hours.
It was a serious accident.
I knew I needed experience.
When you're injured, call Marks & Harrison, voted the best law firm in Richmond by the readers of the Richmond Times-Dispatch.
Voted best.
That's why I called Marks & Harrison.
They were voted best.
100 years of experience does matter.
If you've been injured in an accident, call on the knowledge, experience, and resources of a law firm with a proven track record. Call 1-800-WIN-WIN-1. Marks & Harrison. Right now.
More real news every morning.
Wild winter weather is affecting Americans coast to coast.
More rain, wind, and even hail is expected.
CBS This Morning.
Now, David Begnaud behind the scenes of tonight's Powerball drawing.
Tonight's Powerball jackpot is a guaranteed $40 million.
For 2 months now, we have watched the jackpot jump.
$949.8 million.
This studio in Tallahassee, Florida is where millions of wannabe millionaires and now billionaires see their dreams drop in less than 60 seconds. Sam Arlen will host tonight's drawing.
I'm thinking about the possibility that I may completely transform someone's life.
With more than $1 billion on the line, this place can feel a lot like Fort Knox. There's a red plastic lock with a barcode that must match a code kept only by an auditor. There are 8 security cameras, and Tom DeLasensory, secretary of the Florida Lottery, has muscle agents on standby.
And what's a muscle employee?
The multi-state lottery, which is in charge of Powerball. There's
Nobody with big muscles.
Nobody with big muscles, no.
Okay.
2 of the 4 machines and even the lottery balls are selected randomly.
They are x-rayed, they are weighed to make sure that they're all right, and then they're sealed into a case.
As an added precaution, the handlers aren't allowed to touch them with their bare hands.
They have to have gloves on because we don't want any oils on the ball or any moisture on the ball. That could affect the draw.
At around 9 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, 2 Powerball machines inside this vault will be selected at random. They will then be rolled into this drawing room where we're told 13 people behind that glass will be allowed to watch the drawing. Scott, we're told within an hour of the Powerball jackpot happening, we could know if there's a jackpot winner.
And if there is no winner, the jackpot goes up to $2 billion. David Begnaud, thanks very much. And that's the overnight news for this Thursday. For some of you, the news continues. For others, check back with us just a little bit later for the morning news and CBS This Morning. From the Broadcast Center in New York City, I'm Scott
CBS News, original reporting.
This is the CBS Overnight News.
Welcome to the Overnight News. I'm Don Daler. 10 United States sailors detained for a day by Iran's Revolutionary Guards are back at a U.S. military base, safe and sound. The sailors were on board two small boats that strayed into Iranian waters near Farsi Island in the Persian Gulf. One or both of the boats suffered mechanical issues and were intercepted. It took some backroom diplomacy between Secretary of State John Kerry and his Iranian counterpart to get the men released quickly and avoid an international crisis.
I want to underscore how pleased I am that our sailors were safely returned into United States hands this morning.
The sailors belong to the San Diego-based Riverine Squadron 1. The incident comes as the U.S. is set to begin lifting sanctions against Iran as it fulfills its obligations under the recently completed nuclear deal. The House of Representatives voted just yesterday to increase congressional oversight of that deal, but President Obama has promised to veto that. David Martin has more on the sailors' capture and release.
The 10 sailors were picked up and flown by helicopter to a U.S. military base where they will be debriefed to get their account of what happened. The Pentagon says there are no indications they were harmed during their time in Iranian hands. Two small Navy boats, similar to the ones here, were en route from Kuwait to Bahrain when U.S. officials say they suffered a mechanical breakdown. The boats drifted into Iranian waters, and 10 U.S. sailors were taken into custody and held overnight at an Iranian base on the island of Farsi. Speaking on state TV, the naval chief for the Iranian Revolutionary Guard said the American vessels were engaged in unprofessional acts before being picked up, and the sailors were taken into custody without much resistance. Some of the only people in America who Any mention of the detainment was left out of President Obama's State of the Union address as U.S. officials worked to confirm the status of the crew. On Tuesday, Secretary of State John Kerry spoke directly with his Iranian counterpart and was personally assured the sailors would be well treated.
As a former sailor myself, as General mentioned, I know as well as anybody how important our naval presence is around the world, and certainly in the Gulf region. And I could not be, and I know the President could not be prouder of our men and women in uniform. I also want to thank the Iranian authorities for their cooperation and quick response. These are always situations which, as everybody here knows, have an ability, if not properly guided, to get out of control. And I'm appreciative for the quick and appropriate response of the Iranian authorities.
The sailors were on board Navy Riverine command boats, which do not normally carry sensitive equipment. The incident comes 2 weeks after Iranian Revolutionary Guard ships fired off rockets within a mile of the American aircraft carrier Harry S. Truman as it entered the Persian Gulf. The rockets were aimed away from the ship, but the incident drew a strong protest from the U.S. The Navy will now conduct an investigation, but the U.S. seems intent on getting this incident behind them as quickly as possible. Defense Secretary Carter released a statement saying, "We appreciate the timely way in which this situation was resolved."
The National Guard is on the streets of Flint, Michigan, where tens of thousands of residents face a toxic water crisis. Lead levels in children doubled after the city switched the source of its drinking water in 2014. The state's governor is coming under fire for not acting quickly to end the crisis. Adriana Diaz is there.
The governor has requested help from FEMA to deal with the problem. Almost 2 years ago, the city tapped into the Flint River here for its water, but the water wasn't properly treated, corroding the pipes. This past October, the city switched back to its original water supply in Detroit, but the damage was already done.
Genesee County Emergency Management water filters.
Volunteers and state troopers endured below freezing temperatures, going door to door Tuesday, handing out bottled water and filters, but families still can't use the water from their faucets.
Can't drink it, you can't bathe in it, it's ridiculous.
Michigan's Governor Rick Snyder is under fire for his handling of the nearly 2-year water problem. Earlier this week, an editorial in the Detroit Free Press called his response shameful. The paper compared it to Hurricane Katrina, where, quote, the same lack of urgency delayed life-saving aid.
I've apologized.
On Monday, Snyder said it wasn't until October 1st that his team learned there was confirmed lead in the water. But emails first obtained by Virginia Tech researchers show that state officials may have known there was a problem months earlier. More school children were tested for lead poisoning Tuesday. Severe cases in those under 6 can cause long-term behavioral problems. Following the water switch, Elena Richardson's children developed skin rashes and mouth sores.
It's been very difficult. My kids have been getting sick.
You think it's because of the water?
It is because of the water.
The Justice Department has launched an investigation to figure out exactly how this man-made public health crisis happened. In response to a request for comment, Governor Snyder's office told us that although the governor has issued an apology, he knows the situation warrants more than that.
Just last month, we told you how the city of Buffalo, New York, was basking in its warmest autumn on record with no measurable snow. Well, those days are through. The entire Great Lakes region is being socked by up to 3 feet of snow. DeMarco Morgan is outside Buffalo.
Temperatures are below freezing and the wind is blowing. We're standing here dangerously close to the waves of Lake Erie. Here's the parking lot of Hope's Restaurant next to this car, which is completely frozen.
Welcome to January in upstate New York. Heavy lake effect snow and strong howling winds marking a return to winter. That's the sound of thunder snow Tuesday in Buffalo. Cold air moving behind an Alberta Clipper weather system is blowing across the warmer than average Great Lakes, kicking up high winds and snow. Clouds did little to quell the heavy snowfall enveloping roads, and people with shovels and snowblowers seem to be fighting a losing battle too. Sarah McCloskey is out training for her first marathon and said she won't be sidelined by a squall.
You're constantly aware of traffic, getting hit by a car, falling on your, it's exciting. If I find an excuse not to do it, then I'll just build up excuses not to go.
Blizzard conditions led to a 40-vehicle pileup along Interstate 74 in eastern Indiana. The two-chain reaction crash is leaving cars and debris for a half-mile stretch. No serious injuries were reported. Another pileup on I-70 involved 13 vehicles.
I got hit about 5 different times. I got bumped around pretty good in there.
In Niagara County, New York, drivers had a tough time keeping it between the lines.
Apparently, I couldn't see the road and I missed the turn. So down I went.
Buffalo has gotten 2 feet of snow since Tuesday and should get 6 to 9 more inches sometime today. And the snow will keep coming. Forecast to say by the end of Thursday, parts of upstate New York will see 3 feet of snow.
The more you move, the more you sweat. Degree's Motion Sense technology keeps you fresh with every move. It has unique microcapsules that contain fragrances. Friction breaks the capsules, releasing bursts of freshness all day. Whether you're meeting a deadline, grabbing a bite, or heading out for the night, Motion Sense. Protection to keep you moving. Degree, it won't let you down.
Grandma, can you come out and play?
Sure, Ellie. Oh my, you might want to come here and help Grandma.
What's the matter, Grandma? Can't you stand?
Oh, sorry, honey. It's my knees. They don't work the way they used to.
Does this ever happen to you? Are you on Medicare? You may qualify for a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Call the Health Hotline to see if you qualify. Our friendly agents are standing by 24/7 to help you. We also have braces for your shoulder, ankle, or back pain. And if you're covered by Medicare, you may qualify for free delivery.
Grandma, slow down. I can't keep up.
Maybe you can use a knee brace too, Ellie. Catch me if you can, kiddo.
Call now to get your pain-relieving knee brace.
Operators are standing by. Call 800-257-2313. That's 800-257-2313. Again, 800-257-2313. That's 800-257-2313.
Everyone loves the way dark clothes make them feel. And no one wants that feeling to fade. That's why there's Woolite Darks. It's free of harsh ingredients, keeping dark clothes looking like new for 30 washes, so your love for dark clothes will never fade. Woolite Darks.
The term family ties gets a little ambiguous when you think of children conceived through a sperm donor, especially when there could be hundreds of them. Mark Strassman has a story.
What are your thoughts going into this?
Nervous? Definitely a little bit nervous, yeah.
Todd Whitehurst is walking into the unknown.
Like what if they turned out to be, really strange and shy, and they don't look up, and they're, like, very antisocial or something?
4 kids are waiting for him, a half-mile away.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do.
One of them is 20-year-old Sarah Malley.
What makes you nervous?
What do you say when you're meeting your biological family for the first time? I don't know.
Todd Whitehurst is their biological father, the one they're about to meet. He's a 49-year-old computer engineer who works for Google. In 1998, then a Stanford grad student, he noticed something in the school paper.
They were running big ads, sort of young men, 18 to 30, needed for sperm donation.
Did you have any qualms about it?
Well, I guess my feeling on it was the folks who end up going to a sperm bank really want children quite badly. And why wouldn't you want that? And why wouldn't you want to help those people out?
Whitehurst, who has 2 children of his own from a previous marriage, never expected to meet any of his donor children. Sperm banks follow a protocol. All donor dads sign an agreement to remain anonymous. The families on the receiving end are only given basic background information about their donor: his age, ethnicity, height, birthplace, education, and so on. Clinics also give each donor dad a unique donor ID number, and that has become the gateway to improbable meetings like the one Whitehurst is about to have.
It's a bit nerve-wracking.
And it never would have happened if not for one woman.
It's an innate human desire to want to know where we come from.
Wendy Kramer is the mother of a donor son. She saw how curious he was to learn more about his donor father and founded an online database called the Donor Sibling Registry. It's a networking site for children who want to connect by matching their donor father's ID number. 47,000 people have registered, including 2,300 donor dads.
Kids want to know, I want to hear my donor's laugh. I want to see him smile. I want to know what he thinks is funny. I want to, I want to look into his face. I want to shake his hand.
Carrie Phelps felt that way.
I have always known that I was a donor child from the earliest age, 2. You can imagine a parent with a 2-year-old and the kids asking, "Where's Daddy?"
Phelps, the daughter of a single mother, was 14 when she found her donor father. Phelps had little information about him, but spent 2 weeks plugging what she did know into an online search. She found 7 possible matches. One photo stood out.
For that moment when I saw his face for the first time, it's just, it's incredible.
Her donor dad was Todd Whitehurst. She emailed him, they met, became closer, and eventually even took vacations together with some of his other donor children, like this trip to Cape Cod last July.
I feel that it's just the right thing to do. If the children want to meet, then it's important, I think, to be able to meet.
Ready? Get ready to watch an extraordinary family moment.
Hello! You must be Keegan.
8 donor children came together, 4 of whom Whitehurst had never met before, who were also meeting their siblings for the first time. Yeah, it gets complicated.
What is this moment like for each of you?
It's pretty awesome.
This is insane!
Sarah Malley, a student at Boston's Emerson College, had learned 6 months earlier that she and her twin sister Jenna were donor babies. She contacted Whitehurst through the Donor Sibling Registry, and he helped arrange this family gathering.
Yeah, that's nice, interesting color hair.
Yeah.
What was it like when you first walked up?
Overwhelming. I was worried it would just be like a hello, it's nice to meet you, handshake. We hugged, and that was like a whole big thing.
Just even sitting here, did you feel father's pride?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Aww.
And when I hear her talking about the hug, I want to give her a hug again. So. Yeah, it seems wonderful.
The reproductive industry does little to make it easy for donor dads and their children to meet.
Nobody keeps track of the donors. Nobody keeps track of the kids. There's no tracking whatsoever.
Wendy Kramer says sperm banks ask mothers to report donor births, but it is not required. And no organization links different clinics to track the total number of births from a single donor ID.
And how many potential kids are out there from a single donor?
Nobody really knows. The largest group that we have on our website, we know of a group that's somewhere around 200.
200 kids?
Right. I don't know about you, but if I knew that I had 200 half-brothers and sisters, I would feel like I was part of a herd. It would feel odd.
Whitehurst donated to the same clinic for 4 years.
How many times would you guess?
Yeah, probably on the order of 400 times, something like that.
400 times?
Yeah.
And consider this. A single donation at a sperm bank can produce as many as 24 sellable vials. Whitehurst's 400 donations could have produced 9,600 vials for his clinic to sell.
How many donor children do you know that you have?
I have 22.
22 kids?
That I know of.
You could have a family touch football game and have enough players for both sides.
They compete with other families, too.
Does that seem a little crazy?
It does seem crazy. Yeah, they've all turned out to be really quite remarkable children.
Carrie Phelps now studies computer science at Stanford, just like her donor dad.
I never felt like there was something missing because I've been so lucky. I'm so wanted. And that's something that I think a lot of kids can't say for certain. And so being able to meet all of these totally different, but at the same time very related siblings, it's such an incredible honor for me to grow up this way.
The CBS Overnight News will be right back.
It's not always as easy for me as it is for him.
It's easy for me because look at her.
Aww. So we use KY Ultra Gel. It enhances my body's natural moisture so I can get into the swing of it a bit quicker.
When I know she's feeling like that, it makes me feel like we're both. When she enjoys it, we enjoy it even more.
And I enjoy it. Feel the difference with KY Ultra Gel. You had a long, stressful day, and now you need a little help falling asleep. Time for new Unisom Sleep Minis. The little capsules work fast, so you get a good night's sleep and wake recharged. New Unisom Sleep Minis. A stressful day deserves a restful night.
We were below the 88th southern parallel. We had traveled for over 850 miles. My men driven nearly mad from starvation and frostbite. Today we make history.
Bienvenidos! Welcome to the South Pole!
If you're Dora the Explorer, you explore. It's what you do.
What took you so long?
If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
You did it! Yay!
There's moving. And there's moving with Move Free Ultra. It has triple action support for your joints, cartilage, and bones. And unlike the big Osteo 5-Flex pill, it's all in one tiny pill. Move Free Ultra. Get your move on.
Home Advisor is a very easy way to find a home contractor, and for me, it's the only way.
Home Advisor instantly connects you with top-rated pros for any type of home project.
If you need it, Home Advisor has it.
And it's completely free. Go to homeadvisor.com now.
Frustrated with digestive issues that keep coming back? Try Digestive Advantage, a unique natural probiotic that survives 100 times better than the leading probiotics, so it can get where you need it. Take control of your digestive health with Digestive Advantage. We say the news is back in the morning, and we mean it.
That's just not a catchy phrase.
This is your eye-opener to this day.
CBS This Morning, weekdays.
CBSN, live news streaming to you.
Welcome back to CBSN.
Thank you for joining us.
The biggest stories, live breaking news, video you control. Anytime, anywhere, on any device. CBSN, CBS News, always on.
More real news every morning on CBS This Morning.
A new exhibit in New York City is unmasking the creators of some of your favorite superheroes: Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, and other classic characters. Mark Albert takes us there.
On a street corner in Gotham, this black, modified Ford Galaxy has the power to freeze people in their tracks. It's one of 4 Batmobiles created for the 1960s Batman TV show. And it's the bait to pull you into an exhibit at the New York Historical Society called Superheroes in Gotham.
I love this. It says emergency bat turn lever, bat ray projector.
This would stop traffic anywhere.
Nina Nazionali is the exhibit's co-curator.
It's great to see them line up and just ogle it.
It's a showstopper.
It's beautiful.
Generations of fans have fallen in love with not just the Caped Crusader and his ride, but with the whole universe of superheroes. Gotham may be a made-up world, but its hold on us is real.
You walked into this exhibit. What did you think?
I think, like, oh my gosh, I want to be able to see these comics.
12-year-old Zachary Fisco and his 7th grade class are some of the 4,000 students who will be whisked through the exhibit during its 4-month run.
They know who all the superheroes are, and yet they don't know the history. And I think it will give them ideas. I mean, I hope it will in terms of creating some of their own comic books or art.
That inspiration comes from seeing the humble beginnings of extraordinary characters and the men who created them.
We have Batman #1.
For example, Batman's solo debut in this May 1939 issue, or Superman in Action Comics #1. Original sketches. The 1938 Royal typewriter made of steel that gave birth to the Man of Steel. And the wool and cotton costume worn by actor George Reeves in the 1950s television show Adventures of Superman. The truth behind how the fiction began is as fantastical as the tales these men would tell. Many of the original creators were the first in their families to be born in the U.S., looking not to save the world, but just to survive in it during the Great Depression and then World War II, when the country desperately needed heroes.
These weren't established artists in their 40s and 50s. These were teenagers.
Yes, they were very young, and they were looking for work. They were often discriminated upon because they were the sons of immigrants, most all of them the sons of Jewish immigrants.
So some cloaked themselves, changing their names to fit in and get published. Stanley Lieber became Stan Lee, the co-creator of Spider-Man, Iron Man, and the Hulk. Jacob Kurtzberg transformed into Jack Kirby, collaborating with Lee after he co-created Captain America. Robert Kahn disguised himself as Bob Kane, co-creator of Batman. And Jerry Siegel, who conceived of Superman with Joe Shuster, even reportedly used more than one pseudonym.
The infamous Krypton is now the Man of Steel, Superman!
From this first Superman cartoon in 1941, superheroes would eventually take flight as the gravity-defying media juggernaut we know today. Comics have proven so commercially indestructible, Disney bought Marvel Entertainment for $4 billion in 2009 and has kept an endless line of superhero films coming. Rival DC Comics has 5 TV shows on right now, including Supergirl on CBS, about Superman's cousin. It debuted as the season's most-watched new show. And the comic conventions known as Comic-Con attract a rabid faithful, fueling a booming market. One estimate puts physical sales of comic books and graphic novels in 2015 at about $875 million, a record.
We want younger people who will become artists at some point to realize that it's possible, and everyone has to start somewhere.
Even this daydreaming 9-year-old who drew Batman in his Hebrew school book. 75 years later, that book is in the exhibit, and a grown-up Mort Gerberg is in the New Yorker.
The only way I could compensate for being, a 1 foot, bespectacled, skinny Jewish little kid who got beaten up all the time
Was to draw.
Was to draw, right. Become a superhero in my own way. You never lose that initial fascination with cartoons.
And those adults are passing that fascination on to their kids, who, perhaps for the first time, realize you don't need superpowers to change the world.
I mean, I do feel more inspired by them in that kind of way, that you can become bigger than you think you are.
A belief they, too, are able to leap tall obstacles with just a single bound. Mark out.
for a lifetime. The Brownstone. Marry here, celebrate here, in the heart of downtown Richmond. See how the Brownstone can give you the perfect wedding experience. Go to the Brownstone